You feel it, don't you? That gnawing ache. That sense of an unseen presence, a profound absence, within the very core of your being. You've built a life, a persona, a reflection for the world to see, yet in the quiet hours, a chilling whisper reminds you something essential is missing. Something true, something hidden. What if the most authentic, powerful, and radiant part of you isn't lost but merely waiting? Hiding. Not in the light, but deep within the shadows you've meticulously avoided. What if your true self, your very essence, has been dwelling in the dark all along? And what if, to truly live, you must first descend? You wake each day to a world that feels both familiar and profoundly alien. You move through routines, engage in conversations, pursue ambitions, and yet a subtle current of unreality pulses beneath it all. It's the unsettling sensation of watching your own life from a distance, as if the person moving through it is not quite you. This feeling, this pervasive sense of being lost, disconnected from a fundamental truth, is not an illusion. It is the raw, visceral symptom of a profound inner split. From the earliest moments of your existence, you began constructing a version of yourself, a diligent architect of your own acceptance. The world through its myriad eyes, a parent's fleeting gaze, a teacher's approving nod, a friend's casual comment, began to tell you who you should be. You learned that some emotions were acceptable, others shameful. Some desires were praised, others scorned. You absorbed these lessons, not with conscious intent, but with the porous, vulnerable innocence of a child desperate for love, for safety, for belonging. Perhaps you learned that your anger was dangerous, so you swallowed it whole. Your sensitivity was a weakness, so you armored your heart. Your wild, untamed creativity was impractical, so you buried it beneath layers of logic and expectation. Every piece of yourself deemed unfit by the external world, or even by your own emerging fear-driven ego, was systematically disowned. You began to prune yourself not for growth, but for survival. This meticulously crafted facade, this perfected public self, is what Carl Jung called the persona. The persona is not inherently bad. It is necessary for navigating the social world. It's the suit of clothes you wear to interact with society. But when the persona becomes your entire identity, when you confuse the mask for the face beneath, then the inner schism begins. You become a stranger to yourself. The person you present to the world becomes increasingly separate from the vibrant, messy, authentic being yearning for expression within. You might feel a constant pressure to perform, to uphold an image, to maintain a narrative that isn't entirely true. This relentless effort drains your energy, leaving you perpetually tired, subtly agitated, profoundly unfulfilled. This internal conflict manifests in insidious ways. You might experience a gnawing loneliness, even when surrounded by others, because the real you, the raw, vulnerable, unedited you, feels unseen, unheard, and therefore unloved. You might find yourself caught in cycles of self-doubt, perpetually feeling not enough because the criteria for enough are external, arbitrary, and constantly shifting. Conversely, you might feel too much, your emotions too intense, your desires too grand, your very presence too overwhelming for the quiet, contained life you've built. This feeling of being too much is often the desperate clamor of your authentic self, pushing against the confines of the persona. And what about those moments? The flashes of irrational anger that surprise you, the sudden waves of sorrow that seem to come from nowhere, the urges for recklessness or wild freedom that you quickly suppress. These are not random. These are the whispers, the echoes, the insistent presence of the very parts of you that you banished. They are the contents of your shadow, lurking in the unseen corners of your psyche, demanding recognition. They are the exiled facets of your true self, waiting in the dark, yearning to be reclaimed. They are the unlived life, pulsating beneath the surface of your meticulously constructed existence. And until you descend into that darkness, until you bravely face what you have hidden, the true, authentic self will remain elusive, a ghost in your own machine. Your journey to wholeness begins not by looking outward for light, but by daring to venture inward, into the very shadows where your truth resides. This pervasive sense of alienation, of being adrift in your own skin, finds its roots in the fundamental psychological mechanism of repression. From a young age, the psyche, in its primal quest for survival and acceptance, began to compartmentalize. What didn't fit, what wasn't approved of, what was deemed too messy, too intense, too shameful, was pushed down. not destroyed, merely banished to the unconscious. This vast, unexplored territory, this psychological underworld, is the realm of your shadow. The shadow is not merely the bad parts of you. It is everything you have disowned. It is your suppressed rage, yes, but it is also your unexpressed joy, your stifled creativity, your profound vulnerability, your healthy ambition, your raw instincts. It is the child who wanted to scream, but learned to be silent. It is the artist who feared ridicule and chose conformity. It is the lover who was hurt and now guards their heart with an impenetrable wall. Every time you said no to an authentic impulse out of fear, guilt, or shame, a piece of your true self was cast into the dark. This constant act of suppression requires an immense amount of psychic energy. Imagine holding a heavy ball underwater. It demands constant effort to keep it submerged. The more you deny parts of yourself, the more energy is consumed in maintaining that denial, leaving you feeling perpetually exhausted, a strange, inexplicable fatigue that no amount of rest seems to cure. This is the hidden cost of living a half-life, of allowing your persona to dictate your existence, and the shadow denied does not simply vanish. It finds cunning ways to manifest in your life, subtly dictating your choices, shaping your perceptions, and influencing your relationships. It can appear as inexplicable bouts of anxiety, a relentless internal critic that whispers insidious doubts, or a pervasive sense of inadequacy that sabotages your greatest efforts. You might find yourself caught in endless cycles of self-sabotage, unconsciously undermining your own success or happiness, precisely because a part of you believes you don't deserve it, or fears the exposure that success might bring. Consider the times you've been disproportionately triggered by someone else's behavior. That intense irritation or condemnation you feel towards another is often a direct reflection of a disowned aspect of your own shadow. They are mirroring back to you something you have denied within yourself. The arrogance you despise in others might be your own suppressed desire for recognition. The weakness you judge might be your own unacknowledged vulnerability. This mechanism, known as projection, allows you to avoid confronting your own inner landscape by seeing its contents in the external world. The shadow also fuels the pervasive feeling of loneliness, even when surrounded by others. How can others truly see you, truly love you, when you yourself are hiding fundamental aspects of your being? The authentic connection you crave remains elusive, because the very parts of you that yearn for it are locked away in the darkness. You might constantly seek external validation, striving for achievements or acquiring possessions, hoping that these external markers will finally fill the inner void. But they never do, because the void is not an emptiness, but a hidden fullness, the unacknowledged entirety of your true self aching to be seen. This is the psychological reality of hiding your true self in the dark. It is a constant draining performance, an ongoing battle against the very essence of who you are. The spiritual awakening, when it comes, is often the first crack in this meticulously constructed facade. It's a sudden, jarring glimpse behind the curtain, a moment of profound realization that the life you've been living is not aligned with your deepest truth. This can be terrifying, because the familiar world begins to dissolve and the vast, unknown territory of your own hidden psyche opens up before you. And in that terrifying opening, you encounter the raw, untamed power of the shadow, demanding not to be feared but to be embraced. For within its depths lies not only your pain, but also your greatest power, your true authenticity, and the very core of your unlived life. It is the part of you that has been waiting patiently, silently in the dark, for you to finally come home. The journey into the psyche's darkness is incomplete without acknowledging the profound echoes of your inner child. This isn't a literal child, but a powerful, archetypal aspect of your psyche, the repository of your earliest experiences, your purest innocence, and your deepest, most primal wounds. It is within this tender core that the initial fragments of your true self were first pushed into the dark, based on what you absorbed about acceptability and love. Imagine your inner child as the part of you that first encountered pain, rejection, or misunderstanding. Perhaps you were shamed for expressing intense emotions, or your needs were consistently unmet, leaving you with a deep sense of unworthiness. Maybe you were praised for achievements rather than for simply being, teaching you that your value was conditional. These early experiences, often subtle and seemingly insignificant to the adult mind, form the foundational beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, and how safe it is to be truly, authentically you. When these foundational wounds are not healed, the inner child remains frozen in time, perpetually replaying those early scripts. It lives in the shadows, constantly influencing your adult behaviors, often unconsciously sabotaging your relationships and your sense of self-worth. You might find yourself seeking constant external validation, driven by an insatiable hunger for approval that mirrors your childhood, yearning for a parent's unconditional love. You might struggle with boundaries, unable to say no or feeling easily overwhelmed, because your inner child learned that asserting needs was unsafe. This wounded inner child also contributes significantly to why your true self feels hidden in the dark. The authentic, spontaneous, joyful aspects of that child were often the first to be repressed. The natural curiosity, the uninhibited expression, the pure, unfiltered emotional responses. These were the parts that were often deemed too much or inappropriate by the external world. So they receded, seeking refuge in the unconscious, taking shelter within the shadow. They became part of the very darkness you are now being called to explore. Consider how this manifests in your relationships. You might find yourself constantly seeking partners who embody your unhealed parental figures, unconsciously recreating familiar dynamics of neglect, criticism, or abandonment. You might find yourself perpetually giving, always putting others' needs before your own, driven by the inner child's desperate hope to finally be seen and loved. Or conversely, you might withdraw, keeping everyone at a safe distance, because the risk of further hurt is too terrifying for the vulnerable inner child you carry. These patterns are not flaws. They are the cries of a hidden part of you, seeking resolution, seeking integration. Beyond the inner child, Jung also illuminated the profound impact of the anima and animus, the unconscious feminine qualities in a man and masculine qualities in a woman, respectively. These archetypal energies represent the disowned aspects of the opposite gender that reside within each of us. For instance, a man might suppress his sensitivity, intuition, and emotional receptivity, his anima, because society dictates he must be strong and rational. A woman might deny her assertiveness, logical thinking, and active agency, her animus, because she fears being perceived as too aggressive or unfeminine. When these parts of the psyche are repressed, they too retreat into the dark, becoming part of the hidden self. This creates internal conflict and often manifests as projection onto romantic partners. You might be perpetually attracted to individuals who embody the very qualities you've suppressed within yourself, desperately hoping that their presence will complete you. But this external seeking inevitably leads to disappointment, because true wholeness can only come from integrating these qualities within. The inner harmony between your masculine and feminine energies is crucial for the emergence of your authentic self. The spiritual awakening often serves as a profound catalyst, shaking the foundations of these long-held repressions. It brings to the surface not just the raw pain of the shadow, but also the tender vulnerability of the inner child and the subtle influences of the anima animus. The confusion, the feeling of being lost, the deep emotional turmoil you might be experiencing now are all signs that these hidden aspects are finally clamoring for attention. They are no longer content to remain in the dark. They are demanding to be seen, to be healed, to be integrated, because your true self, your authentic integrated essence, cannot fully emerge until these fragmented pieces are brought back into conscious awareness and lovingly woven into the tapestry of who you are. This descent into the depths, though terrifying, is the only path to reclaiming the totality of your being. This profound journey you are undertaking, this descent into the very core of your hidden self, was meticulously mapped by Carl Jung. He didn't see your pain, your confusion, or your feelings of being lost as signs of weakness, but as potent indicators of a crucial, necessary process, individuation. For Jung, individuation is the lifelong, psychological process of integrating the conscious and unconscious, ultimately leading to the realization of the self, the totality of your being, your unique and whole essence. It is the path to becoming who you truly are, not who you should be. Jung believed that the psyche has an innate drive towards wholeness. When your spiritual awakening occurs, it is often a powerful call from the self, signaling that the ego, your conscious, everyday identity has become too narrow, too disconnected from the vast, rich resources of your unconscious. The very fact that you feel your true self is hiding in the dark is the psyche's way of telling you that you've been living a fragmented existence, and it's time to gather all the pieces. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, Jung famously stated, but by making the darkness conscious. This profound insight lies at the heart of why your true self is hidden. It is not that your true self is the darkness, but rather that it resides within the darkness you have disowned. The qualities, emotions, and memories that you have banished to your shadow are not evil. They are merely unacknowledged, unintegrated, and therefore unexpressed. They are the raw material for your wholeness. Consider the immense energy that has been bound up in keeping these parts hidden, the constant effort of maintaining the persona, of suppressing emotions, of avoiding the painful truths of your inner child wounds. All of this energy is held captive in the unconscious. When you begin the work of making the darkness conscious, you are not simply revealing flaws. You are liberating vast reservoirs of creative power, authentic expression, and vital energy that were previously inaccessible to your conscious mind. This liberation is what fuels true motivation and genuine purpose, not the superficial drives of the ego. Jung would explain that your lack of genuine fulfillment, your feeling of being lost or not enough, stems from this internal disunion. Your conscious ego, while necessary for navigating the world, is often too small, too limited, to contain the vastness of your true self. The self, the larger guiding intelligence of your psyche, knows what you truly need for growth and wholeness, and when you ignore its promptings, when you continuously deny crucial parts of your being, it will manifest its wisdom through various symptoms: anxiety, depression, a feeling of meaninglessness, or the profound sense that your true self is hidden away. The journey into the shadow is a terrifying but necessary descent. It requires immense courage to face the parts of yourself you've deemed ugly, shameful, or unacceptable. But Jung taught that within these rejected parts lies gold, your authentic power, your creativity, your unique genius. When you integrate your anger, it transforms into healthy assertiveness and boundary setting. When you integrate your vulnerability, it becomes a source of profound empathy and genuine connection. Similarly, facing the wounds of your inner child allows you to break free from old, unconscious patterns that have dictated your relationships and self-worth. By consciously reparenting that child, you heal the original splits and begin to build a new, secure foundation within. And by recognizing the interplay of your animus, you move towards an inner harmony that allows you to express both your masculine and feminine energies in a balanced, integrated way, leading to more authentic relationships with both yourself and others. Jung's revelation is this: your true self isn't hiding from you, but for you. It waits in the darkness not out of malice, but out of necessity. It waits for you to become brave enough to descend, to make the unconscious conscious, to reclaim all the fragmented pieces of your being. Only then can the self emerge in its full, radiant wholeness, guiding you towards a life of profound meaning, authentic purpose, and true liberation. The darkness is not an end, but the sacred beginning of your deepest transformation. To reclaim your true self, hiding in the dark is not an act of force, but an act of profound surrender and courageous tenderness. It is a journey of sacred integration, weaving together the threads of your conscious experience with the rich, often intimidating, tapestry of your unconscious. This is not about becoming someone new, but about becoming more fully, more authentically you. The first essential step is to cultivate radical self-compassion. For years, you have been at war with parts of yourself, judging, criticizing, and banishing aspects into the dark. This war must end. Begin by acknowledging the incredible bravery it took to survive your early wounds, to construct the persona that protected you. Understand that every defense mechanism, every act of hiding, was born from a place of seeking safety and love. Approach your inner world with the same gentle curiosity and acceptance you would offer a beloved, wounded child. Now turn towards your shadow with an open heart. This is not about unleashing repressed impulses, but about conscious acknowledgement. Begin by observing your triggers. When someone irritates you, or when you feel a disproportionate emotional reaction, pause. Instead of blaming them or yourself, ask, what part of me is this reflecting? What unacknowledged trait or emotion within me is being activated? Journal about these moments. Explore the raw feelings, the anger, the envy, the shame, the fear, not to wallow in them, but to understand their origins and messages. Remember, the shadow contains gold. What seems like a flaw, when integrated, can become a strength. Your suppressed anger can become healthy assertiveness. Your unacknowledged grief can become profound empathy. Your hidden fear can become wise discernment. This process is about reclaiming your power, not indulging your weaknesses. Simultaneously, embark on the tender work of inner child healing. That child within you, frozen in time with their unmet needs and unspoken pain, longs for your attention. Create a safe space for them. This can be through guided meditation, visualization, or simply holding a conversation with your younger self in your journal. Ask, what did you need most then? What are you afraid of now? How can I, as your adult self, provide the love, validation, and safety you didn't receive? Listen to their cries, acknowledge their pain, and offer unconditional love. Imagine yourself holding that child, comforting them, telling them they are inherently worthy, regardless of external achievements or approval. This healing creates a new, secure internal attachment figure, you, which is vital for building authentic self-worth and genuine motivation. Furthermore, explore the dynamics of your anima or animus. Observe your attractions and projections in relationships. What qualities do you constantly seek in others? What traits do you judge in them? These often point to your own unintegrated feminine or masculine energies. If you're a man who struggles with emotional expression, gently invite your anima to surface through creative pursuits, emotional vulnerability, or connection with your intuitive side. If you're a woman who struggles with assertiveness, explore your animus through decisive action, logical problem solving, and healthy boundary setting. Integrating these aspects leads to an inner marriage, a profound balance that allows for a more complete and authentic expression of your unique being. This journey is not about linear progression, but about cyclical deepening. You will revisit these themes again and again, each time peeling back new layers. There will be moments of profound discomfort, fear, and grief. Lean into them. Resist the urge to numb, to distract, to intellectualize. These raw emotions are the very portal to your liberation. They are the energy of your hidden self, finally released, ready to be reintegrated. The ultimate goal is individuation, the process of becoming whole. It means no longer needing to hide parts of yourself, either from yourself or from the world. It means your persona becomes a flexible tool, not a rigid prison. It means your shadow is acknowledged and integrated, transforming potential destructiveness into creative power. It means your inner child is cherished and healed, allowing you to live from a place of innate worth. As you embark on this sacred integration, you will find that a profound, authentic motivation begins to emerge. It won't be the frantic external drive you once knew. It will be a deep, quiet sense of purpose, a magnetic pull towards what truly aligns with your integrated self. It will be a desire to express your wholeness in the world, not to prove your worth, but to simply be who you are. This is the true meaning of living from yourself, a life vibrant with meaning, authenticity, and profound inner peace. You came seeking answers to why your true self was hiding in the dark. You now know it was not a punishment, but a sacred protection, a profound act of self-preservation, waiting for the courage of your consciousness to descend and reclaim it. You are not broken. You are simply in the profound process of becoming whole. The journey ahead is one of fierce bravery and tender compassion. It is the arduous, yet ultimately liberating, path of bringing light to every forgotten corner of your being. To love not just the parts you present to the world, but the shattered pieces, the banished shadows, the wounded child within. Carl Jung knew this truth. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This is your invitation. This is your destiny, to step into the totality of your being, no longer hiding, no longer fragmented, but radiant in your authentic, unedited truth. The darkness did not hold your true self captive. It held it safe, waiting for you to find the courage to bring it home. Now step into your wholeness. The world and your soul await.